girlfriend said she wasn't turned on to me anymore. She said I wasn't warm and cuddly enough. And then she left me for a comic book writer.
Donut up. Now control drop into your face.
I used to go about my day spending tens, even hundreds of calories doing just regular daily activities like lying down, brushing my teeth, reading a book. Now with the Slob 90X program, I can do these things in a lazy, almost catatonic way.
SLOB stands for slow, lazy, ordinary body. In just 90 days, I can help you become a computer nerd, a party animal, or just a plain old lovable slob. But there's too much crap to explain here now, and I gotta take a nap. So get yours today, and we'll send you the entire Slob 90X 12 DVD set, plus 4 bonus DVDs. Don't be miserable and muscle-bound. Be a slob now. I did it, and so can you.
Couch body.
All right, there's some couch body there for you. Sponsor of the show, Slob 90X. So good to be here. It is Interview Friday. Let's get it going. Todd Lee is here. Holy slobs. Slob Fest, March Madness equals Slob Fest. Screw it. That's what we say around here. Yes, that is Mulva there at the end of the show. Sure is. Slob life is the best life. So great to be here. I was going to do this thing where I was going to walk in to the show with my mug of liquor. No, I don't have liquor in here. It's just water. Or is it liquor? No, it's just water. It's water. It's liquor. Let's face it. It's vodka, so they can't trace my breath. What's going on here? This is Lunch Therapy. This is Interview Friday. I wanted to do this thing now where I showcase like some of the people who've been on the show or some of the hummingbirds and what they're doing this weekend, shows that you can attend. Here's Ginny Sykes. Oh, there's our guest. Oh my gosh, sneak preview. There's Ginny Sykes is doing a show at the Dow Comedy Studio, March 22nd, which is tomorrow night, 7:30. Ginny Sykes, you can see her live. Also, Susan Rice, up in Washington. She's at the Lincoln Theater in Mount Vernon, Pacific Northwest Comedy. Check that out. She's going to be there tonight, March 21st. And what else we have? Oh, Lynn Sun. These are her dates. I'm saying Lynn Sun because Lynn Sun is how I met the guest today, Antonio Scarpitta. There are some of her dates. She's awesome. Also, Ron Lynch is at the Elysian Saturday night at midnight, so check it out. Let's get into the show because it's a little haphazard, and I blame my assistant Bodie. So it's all on him. I'm gonna get myself a modem. 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 All right. Thanks to all the Patreons out there. Patreons are how we fuel the show. If you want to be a Patreon and you want to support independent media, go to patreon.com/Joel Marshall. Put your toe in the water. You can just sign up, be a Patreon. You can sign up to give $1 a month, $2 a month, $10,000 a month. If you're a billionaire, that's like nothing. Billionaires, you're welcome as well. Howard, thank you. Yes. Anybody else? Howard's going to be performing in the Lunch Therapy comments section today between 12 and 1. Excellent. This is a very live show. The guest is live. I'm live. Boney is dead, but he can still dance around, as you see back there. So feel free to comment, ask some questions, make some hilarious jokes, just whatever, comes across the transom. We've had some Zoom bombing on the show. I don't think we want that. I don't think we want Zoom bombing where people say like ridiculous things, but as long as they keep it clean, I guess maybe it could be fun. Soup special, bony broth. Yeah. Little bit of bone marrow there for you. Let's go. Okay, we got to get on with this thing because I got Antonio in the green room, and I don't know. He might be token up with Boney. I don't know what's going on in there. I can't really control that part because I'm doing this part of the show. So, in through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. Let the rain come down. I hear the rain in through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. You can hear Antonio in the green room clearing his throat. In through the nose, out through the toes. He's doing the breathing along with us. Let it go. I do this breathing every show because it calms my nervous system because I get all wound up. You can tell I'm a little calmer, can't you? Here comes the rain again, falling on the show like a memory. There's so many wonderful rain songs. Purple Rain. This kind of reminds me of Purple Rain. I Hear the Rain by the Violent Femmes. I hear the rain, I hear the rain, I hear the rain. Gotta feel the pain. Let's feel the pain a little. All right, so we got Aki Ra Sunrise for your listening enjoyment here before we get into the interview. Raindrops on my shoulders. Not really a song, I don't think, but kind of a nice image. Seattle version of Sunshine on my shoulders. Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. I'm ruining this. I'm ruining it. Marshall, you're ruining it. Shh. Dance if you want to. You can dance to this. Not if you're driving, though. Don't drive and dance. It can be very dangerous, especially if you dance with the wheel. That could be catastrophic. Still breathing. So this is Akira Sunrise. Go to his YouTube channel, check him out. He is incredible. Some of his drums are in water. You can see them around him there. All right, let's do this thing. That's Akira Sunrise. But now we're traveling to Venezuela. Behind me is the Angel Falls in Venezuela. Why do I have Venezuela behind me? Because my guest today grew up in Venezuela. Antonio Scarpitta. We met doing a show at the Ice House with the great Lynn Sun. I've been following him ever since on the Instagram. So long I forgot even like how I met him or how I saw him first. He's a powerhouse. He has this film that he made when he first started doing comedy, which I think it's when he first started doing comedy. Hard to believe. It was in 2019, I think. He did it in a very ingenious and brave way. he decided to document it because he's an editor. And he said, I want to get out there and I want to do comedy. I want to learn comedy. But not only that, I'm going to document my entire journey from, oh my God, what am I doing, to being on the stage in a very professional way. He took a class from the comedian David Connolly. David Connolly is a friend of the show. And this was at the Theater of Arts in Hollywood. Filmed the whole process from class to multiple shows. And the documentary is called 8 Weeks to 6 Minutes. And it's available on Amazon. There's a link in the show notes. Any of you that are thinking about doing stand-up, Todd Lee, it's a great insight into the process of how one can take an idea and make it a reality. And also you can see like all the doubts and all the freak out that goes on while you're trying to find your voice, trying to find what you're talking about. So now, years later, Antonio has completed a very successful comedy stint in New York. He's done comedy at the major clubs here in Los Angeles, the Ice House, the Comedy Store. He even performed in a show with Joel Marshall. I mean, God, that's like some high-level shit there. Some of you came to that show that Lynn's son produced at the Ice House, where I think Todd was there. Todd Lee in the chat room. Soon to be a comedian as well, where Antonio brought the house down. So let me bring him on here, as they say. Let's just take one more look here. Oh, Kamala says, I too grew up in Venezuela. And then there's a little Spanish there. And if I spoke Spanish, I would say it, but I'm not going to. Maybe we'll get Antonio to say it. All right, here we go. Interview Friday.
So my father is Italian, and my mother is from Venezuela. And by law, that makes me Catholic. And people ask me all the time, so which side do you relate to the most? The Italian or the Venezuelan? And I tell them, well, from the waist up, I am Italian. Because I am very expressive when I talk. Yeah. I always argue about nothing. I only have one eyebrow. But from the waist down, I am definitely Venezuelan. Easy. Because every time I hear a salsa beat, my lower body gets possessed.
Yeah, all right. Antonio Scarpitta, welcome to Lunch Therapy.
Hi guys, how are Joel? How are you? Thank you for having me, and hello to all the hummingbirds out there. Great to be here.
It's great having you here. It's just wonderful watching your progression in that documentary. I just watched that it's available on Amazon. There's a link in the show notes. Was that really the first time you ever did stand-up?
First time ever. And it was because of David Connolly. We were been friends for a while, playing soccer and softball. And he always kept on me. I said, "Hey man, you should take my class. You know, I think you can take get something out of it." And I always say no. For 2 years, I always say no. But as you mentioned earlier, I'm a filmmaker, so I came up with the idea. Hey, how about if I bring my own crew? I take the class, and we record the whole process. And he loved the idea, so he let me do it.
Wow. And were you, well, I mean, it goes without saying, you were probably scared. Were you scared?
Oh, scared! You can't. That's an understatement. But the whole thing happened because I went to one of his shows where he taught a class, and you got everybody doing the 6 minutes and stuff like that. And in that show at the Arena Theater in Hollywood, where he teaches, I saw. Oh my God, my name, Sally Mullins.
Oh, Sally.
Right?
Sally, yeah.
Yeah, she had me crying and laughing all 6-10 minutes that she had in there, and I thought she was the most. I still think she's one of the greatest comedians around. And from that point on, I said, well, let me see if I can do this, but my way, and which is I'm going to take the 8 weeks class, and it's going to be a 6-minute set at the end. Which at the beginning he told me that it was going to be performed at the arena where we were.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the set, he was talking to Vargas Mason, which is another amazing comedian that I respect and love this guy so much.
I love Vargas.
And he had the These Nuts and the Comedy Store. Mm-hmm. And at the last minute, he said, "We're going to do your graduation set at the Comedy Store." And I almost flipped. I almost died because, the Comedy Store, are you kidding me? The first 6 minutes ever?
Yeah. Right at the Comedy Store. That's the first 6 minutes you ever did, and it was at the Comedy Store. It's so great. Yeah, I want to shout out to Vargas Mason and to Sally Mullins. They are such incredible performers. Sally, I went to see her Sleazy Does It at the arena there in Hollywood. Yes. That was great. But they're just such a gift to comedians because a lot of people, they get their start with the D's Nuts and they're great to perform with. And Sally is such an incredible host.
Oh, she's one of the best.
Master class in hosting if you go see that D's Nuts, because it is a real skill to be able to be able to warm up the audience like that and introduce a show in such a positive way. Because I notice sometimes the host of shows will downplay the show, like for comedy purposes, and it starts the show off in like kind of a hole. Yeah, you know what I mean? Have you had that before?
Yes, I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But every time I see her doing a show, and I hear the jokes multiple times, but she still cracks me up. It's just the way she presents herself out there and how she controls the audience. I've never seen anybody doing it as well as she does.
She's been on this show multiple times and has raised the bar many times on this show. I got to get her on again. I got to get Vargas on the show as well. In a way, we all get our start with D's Nuts. That's right, Todd Lee. That's a good one.
Yes. It's funny.
All right, I'm going to play the trailer of this because it kind of gives you an idea of what it's like.
I am extremely nervous about what I'll be doing later today, and that is to take a stand-up comedy class. I just feel like at my age, I want to try something different, something new. And I feel like taking a class like this will help me to step out of my comfort zone. And hopefully, it will inspire me to be more creative in other areas of my life as well. The plan is to have 8 weeks, and then at the end of the 8 weeks, everyone that took the class is going to stand up in front of an audience for about 6 minutes to tell our jokes.
Antonio, let's get you up.
Where?
On the staging.
Again? He was so tough that the local police used to come to my house and get training on waterboarding. Miss World, the winner from our planetary systems, and Miss Universe. We never see any contestants from another galaxies.
I can tell you that all you just said, none of that is going in your set. I just know.
Honestly, I have no idea what to expect. Who knows, I might fail miserably. But I'm okay with that, because my goal here is to push myself to take a risk and see where it leads me.
That is so cool. Now, applause. I love how in the well, you're an editor, and obviously you put the whole thing together too, right? You've got approval from the board. How did you shoot it? Who was the camera person?
There was a couple of friends of mine in the same group that I met with Dave playing soccer and softball. They were very interested. They loved the idea, and I said, "Well, I'm just gonna get the cameras." And they came in. One did the audio, and the other one did a couple of them did the cameras. And we pretty much every class we went together. Classes were Tuesdays and Saturdays were the live when you get up on stage and do it. You know, the Tuesday class was for a theory and stuff like that, and then we did the whole thing that way.
That's great. And what were the other students like? Were they like,
Oh, that was the
in.
most, the most amazing class. I mean, especially the camaraderie that came.
Yeah.
They knew how scared I was of the whole thing. They knew I never had any experience because most of these guys are actors, and I don't have any experience or anything like that, And so the camaraderie and the help that I got from all of them, it was amazing. They helped me complete the jokes. They patted me and said, "Take it easy. Things are gonna be like this and that." Really great people, man. I mean, that was one of the best class I ever took.
you really do a service to that as well, because we get to see that process. Because I know all of us, when we take a class like that and we know there's like a showcase at the end, we're in the middle of it. We're like, this is not going to work. This is not going to happen. And then we also have a tendency to try and muscle it. And there's, like write a whole bunch of jokes, and they're like, I like it how you come back in and they'd be like, "What happened to the jokes you had last time that we were working on?" You're like, "I read all new ones."
Yeah, that was a process. I struggled a lot with the jokes, and then a lot. I mean, the documentary is not about the writing. It's not about the jokes. It's about mostly doing something different, and what else happens at the end of that journey, That's what I wanted to do this documentary, and that was the most important part for me. Just to how did I come in from weeks ago? How did I change after that?
Now, a lot of, like you said, a lot of comedians will come at this from an acting standpoint. So they're already performers, they're already actors. You came at it from an editing standpoint, but I got to think that's got to help as well.
It does completely. I mean, it was as an editor, it's one of the best skills I got to do comedy, and I learned that after taking another class and then another class, and because I mean, I'm a storyteller. I've been doing film for quite a while, and I've been written and directed shorts and things like that. And so I write long scripts, but you cannot stand in there and do a joke on 5 minutes, script. You have to edit everything down, and you have to do the heavy thing and take it down, and then do maybe a couple of sentences, and that's the punchline. So editing is very important, and it does help me a lot that I do this for a living every day. And
yeah, I'm sure it helps a lot. What happens? What's your process? Do you write jokes down first? I noticed in the thing you were telling stories in the beginning, and they were kind of like, yeah, you can tell stories, but you need to have jokes. And did you understand the joke structure?
I didn't.
Starting out, and how did you find it?
I never, like I said, never done comedy in this structure thing. I've always been a very funny guy. I mean, I was a clown pretty much growing up all my life, but I've always, when I started doing the filmmaking and stuff like that, I always wanted to be behind the cameras. And stand-up is something completely different about being behind the camera. You have to be out there. You have to present yourself in front of an audience, people you don't know, So that scared the hell out of me. But yes, I do. Come up with ideas. They pop up anywhere, and I write them down or I record them on my phone. And then I like to tell stories, and in that story is where my jokes are. I'm not a one-liner, two-liner person, comedian that sits there and tells, okay, I went to a bar. No, there's a story that happened to me, and in that story here are the funny parts, and that's what makes the editing fun for me too. How to not make it long, but at the same time find the funny in that story.
You said that you've always been kind of a funny guy. What were you like? What was it like in Venezuela? Well, did you were born in Venezuela, or were you born in Italy?
I was born in Venezuela, and then we once we were about I wasn't even I didn't know how to walk yet. We went to Italy, where my father's from the south, from the Amalfi Coast, and then we lived there for about 4 years, and that's I learned. That's my first language is Italian, and then there were some, drama with the Italians and the Venezuelan blood, and my mom said, "Okay, we're going back to Venezuela," and that's where I grew up. I was maybe 3 years old when I went back. Yeah.
What were you like as a kid?
Well, I have an identical twin brother,
You
so
do?
we were always mischievous. I mean, we were a handful. I mean,
Is
my
that
mom
what?
could
Is
not
that why
leave us
Howard said
alone.
this?
What did he say?
Every time I see Antonio smile, kind, hilarious, supportive. If only he had a twin. Do you think he knows that, or I don't
I
know?
don't know. Does he? I mean,
Howard's enigmatic. I was kind of thinking Howard maybe was your twin.
yeah. But a lot of people. That's funny because a lot of people when I do go shows and they look at me and they say, "How you doing?" They say, "Hey, Howard, I haven't seen you in a while." They confuse me. I don't know why. It must be the
Yeah, the
little things out
eyebrows must be
here.
the eyebrows. Yeah.
Yeah.
So your twin brother, was he a funny guy too, or you guys like?
Oh yeah, we were just mischievous, but in a very funny way. We always make people laugh, and I grew up in a house where everybody was laughing. Both my parents were very funny people and really happy people. That's why it's so hard for me to do comedy.
Why? Hey,
It's a
why
joke.
is it? I'm like, wait a minute,
Because
what?
I never had anything bad. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. There's the laughter. Yeah, yeah. So was anybody a performer though?
No, nobody. I mean, I'm
Nobody
the
like that.
first one that ever made that jump, and what a jump it was. Yeah.
What about the jump from Venezuela to the United States? What made you come here?
Yeah, that was a big one. I mean, we were like I was telling my brother and I, we were kind of a troublemakers. So my parents decided that it's better if we just leave the leave the country and have something another experience in our lives. Leave the
Yeah,
friends, leave the family, and it makes you grow up. It definitely
yeah.
makes you grow up, learning another language, another culture. But the essence stays with you all the time. When we got to the States, we went to school in Michigan to go to college, and that's
Oh, I think
where
I saw like something where you had the Wolverines helmet or something on your
yes,
Instagram.
yes, I
I
saw
was
them
like,
there.
where's that come in?
I'm a big fan of
Are you?
the Michigan teams, like Detroit
Oh yeah.
the Lions and everybody out there.
Oh
But
yeah.
anyways, we got there, and but the essence is always you. Then we started to learn English, and we still be funny, but in English. So
Yes.
we always made friends by making people laugh. That was the main thing.
Yeah. So you had a kind of a natural knack for it. What made you go
Yeah.
into editing?
Well, I always tell stories, man. I mean, I always wanted to do that. And when I lived in San Francisco for a while to go to school there as well for 3D special effects, and then I wanted to find a way to tell stories. I mean, whether it was writing or and editing is the last place, well, one of the last places where you can tell the final story.
Hmm.
Another place is doing the color. You think the color correction for a film. That's another way to tell a story. But the editing is where everything happens. And everything is done. So that's I always wanted to do something like that. But I didn't know how. When I was living in San Francisco, I was doing 3D games. I was building environments for 3D games. And then
You
one of the
were
projects,
really with like
yeah,
Unreal Engine or something like that, or what?
exactly. Well,
Really?
it was before that. It was
Yeah.
actually in the 2000s. And I did a game called Frankenstein with this British guy. What's his name? The guy who did Rocky Horror Picture.
The guy who directed Rocky Horror Picture Show?
No, the main guy,
Oh, Tim
Tim,
Curry.
right, Tim Curry. So we did a show, and he was the mad scientist. So I built all the environments in that game, type of thing.
That's
But I
awesome.
got there was a project that landed on me, which was going to be like a very unique way of telling a story, and then I had to edit it because the guy who was editing left, and I had to jump into it. So that's when I learned the editing, and I fell in love with it right away.
Have you ever been a video gamer, or you just come at it because you just
Never.
loved it?
I mean, I would just got into the pipes, deciding uh, the environments and things like that. I mean, I play games just to research my stuff, but I never are like a guy who stay up 24 hours doing that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool. So are you still a practicing editor? Is that what you do?
Yes, that's what I do every day, and then I learned the color correction, which is what I've been doing for the last 4 years. Also, doing the final color for the films.
Never
and the
quite
series.
understood how, I mean, it's an amazing talent to have to color correct, because whenever I color correct my own stuff, I'm like, I don't know. I think that looks good. But when you go to one of these color correctors, they seem like it's a science. Like and then to make it all even, the whole film kind of an even kind of tone. I have no concept of how you do that. How do you even know? Is it something you get from the director? How does it work?
Yes, I mean, pretty much is the best way to learn something like that is to really understand the tool. Yeah. And I fly by instruments. I mean, I have a vector scope there where it shows me what, if anything is out of whack or anything needs to be moved around. And of course, my visual signs are there. Say, well, it looks a little green, and then I go to the vector scope and say, yeah, I think the green is too much. So once you learn how to do the technical part of it, it becomes a much easier job. I mean, but it's still very, very detail oriented.
Does color correction go through trends? Because I noticed for a while there movies were kind of yellow. I'm kind of yellow right now, but anyway, things were kind of had a yellow tint to it, and sometimes also there'll be movies where when it goes into the past, or TV shows, when it goes into the past, it's got a different tone to indicate, that you're in a different time.
Exactly. Yes, and then you're right. It does. There's a time there was a show. Most of the shows were doing this kind of bluish. What's the name of that bluish color? Something like that. But it was very like the CSI episodes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of those series were done in that color. But yeah, so they like that, and they go through a period in which most of those series and TV are going that direction. So yes, it depends on what strikes people.
Do they give you like a palette and say like, I'd like it to have these kind of tones to it, or?
Yeah, sometimes they do. Sometimes, and they send me screenshots of this looks of a film they love, and they say this is a screenshot, and then you can see the colors in there, and then you start bringing up the palette and say, okay, maybe I can match it this way, and then you have to get as much as close as you can on that according to the screenshot that you get.
You seem like you're like two people. Because the being a comedian, at least two people. I guess we all are multiple people, but your comedian persona and then your editing persona seem like kind of different worlds. Like one's maybe they're both creative, but they are also one tends to be very outgoing, and the other one seems to be very like in a closet somewhere on the computer.
In a dungeon. That's
in
what
a
we
dungeon,
call it.
Right?
Oh my God, that's exactly right, Joel. That's exactly right. I mean, it's as far behind the scenes as you can get from being a comedian. I mean, yes, we spend a lot of time in the dark because of we want to focus on things and seeing repeatedly scenes over and over again because we want to be perfect about the frame. I mean, it's a whole different story.
I don't even know when to stop with color. That's one of my problems. I never know when to stop, and then I kind of get into this world of like maybe my color it becomes too rich or too intense, and then I look back at the beginning of the movie. I'm like, that's totally different. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how you do it. Kamala says, "What are you working on now in terms of color correcting or editing?"
Just to answer your question about when do we stop?
Yeah.
Because I put my headphones on, and once the SWAT team comes in, breaks down the door, it's time to stop.
That's the way I feel about like this show. Like whenever I do this show and I get all the aspects together, thank God it starts at noon on Tuesdays and Fridays, because I would never be done doing that. And all the way up into the last minute, I'm like, oh, maybe I can get this clip. Maybe I can get that clip. I suppose this being an editor is the same way.
It is. It is the same way. I mean, for me, it's very hard. To answer the question, one of your hummingbirds.
Yeah.
I am finishing my special, editing my special. I'm doing the color correction right now. It's a 30-minute show that I did in San Francisco. It's called Brownish, and I'm trying to finish that. But for me, that's one of the hardest part to do, is to do my own color, my own editing, and my own work. The same happened with the special, the documentary. I had to hire somebody to help me out, take it to the next level. Because I was so close to the material, and it happens. You get too close, and you don't wanna get rid of the scene, and you want to put something else. So sometimes it helps to have other eyes to look at the whole thing. Yeah. But yes, I'm working on finishing my special, the color editor, and here at work, I'm doing a series called Royal Garage, and it's a 10 episodes, 1 hour episodes about this woman who finds cars for people who have done amazing things, so cancer survivals, and then they fix the car up, and then they, at the end of the show, they reveal and give the car to the person. Really wonderful.
That's
show.
Beautiful. That sounds, oh my God, that sounds great.
Yeah.
I want to play another clip, one of my favorite bits that you do. Here we go.
Okay.
When I met my wife, she was an English teacher. We emailed each other for a few days before our first date. And she told me that those emails were the reason why we actually got together. She really liked the way I structure a sentence. And how I use commas and periods. So I sent her a long paragraph with semicolons. Well, she thought I was so sexy. She loved the way I used a semicolon in a sentence when something stronger than a comma is needed. How can you not get aroused by that? You can go your whole life without using a semicolon. But you'll die alone. Let's say you had a bad breakup and you want to patch things up. So you write, "I'm sorry, I love you." The only thing that's going to get you is a restraining order. But if instead you write, "I'm sorry, semicolon, I love you, period," you're going to get laid.
Arda Ronan says, brilliant. I do. I think it's brilliant. I love that. I wonder, do you ever do comedy in Spanish?
No, I haven't. I did do an open mic at the Dow Comedy Store with Bobby Oliver.
Yes.
And it was my first time I did it. It was a small group, and it felt very strange, But I definitely want to pursue that more, because I think it's where my natural language is, and I want to explore that more. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Are you going to explore doing more grammar jokes, because grammar jokes are hilarious?
Yeah. Actually, this came out from a friend of mine who said that we had a conversation about how people right now don't write a punctuation or anything like that, and I just love the way she put it in a way. I said, "Do you mind if I take this little bit and make it in my joke?" He said, "Yeah, go for it." Yeah, so I made the whole thing up about the being sexy and all that stuff. So, and then yes, I want to get a little more. I've been writing something about the column, and and a couple of other things too. So it'll.
I liked how you pulled out that rag and was like, "Is that something you bring to yours for just that bit?" It's for that bit. So cool. What about physical comedy? Is that something that you love to do? I know that you do a thing about dancing. Everybody
Yes, I
will
mean,
find
I
it.
didn't know it was a physical comedy. I just
Yeah.
I thought it was part of how I do things. You know, I mean, I think this is very natural that I can just get up and dance, you know, or just do the thing. You know, I mean, man, that's a tough one, man. So I include all that stuff, but people told me, hey, I love your physical comedy, and I didn't know what they meant, you know.
Oh, we
But I
got
guess
Rosanna
it's
here. Says, your semicolon bit is my favorite.
Yeah, she's the one that actually helped me. Gave me the bid to start with, you know, the little thing. And I love her. Every time she gets a chance, she posts it out, links to it, and she couldn't believe what I made out of anything, out of nothing, because we're just having a conversation.
Yeah,
And
you never know
I
where
made
that
the whole
stuff's
thing.
going to come from. You just don't know,
Exactly.
right? You have to
Exactly.
be open. Kamala says, just for your information, colon has two meanings that could be funny. Yes, it could. Maybe there's like a
Yes.
tag there. I don't know. It's super cool. So, okay, tell me about the special. Like, a lot of us comedians, well, first of all, you did your documentary and then COVID
Yes.
hit. So that must have been just, what the hell? And then, but you've gotten to a place now where you could do like a whole special, 30-minute special. How did you produce that? And are you also a producer?
That's the only thing I really produced. I haven't ventured into doing more producing shows or anything like that. It was quite a new territory for me, you know, because first of all, it was being done in a place that I don't live in, you know, so
Yeah.
it was a lot of stuff I just couldn't have control over, you know.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do it there because when I left Michigan, I went to San Francisco and I lived there for 9 years, and I have a lot of good friends out there, and I knew they wanted to go for me to go see because they haven't seen my show yet.
Yeah.
And I knew that I can bring people in there. So we found this amazing place on Broadway in downtown in the financial district, and we packed the whole place. It was amazing.
How many seats were in that place?
About 250, 250,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
big show, a huge stage. I mean, the whole thing was done in the 40s, and they used to bring jazz bands to play. Big stage, the lighting, the bar, everything was amazing in that place, yeah.
It's a lot of work, though, to get 250 people to show up in one place.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
exactly.
And how did you shoot it? Multiple cameras or?
Yeah, I did multiple cameras too with it. I mean, there was the venue knew the people who work with the cameras and stuff like that, so they hired the crew, really great crew too. They did a fantastic job, and we did 3 cameras, and we mic'd the audience, and it was done between me and another comic that we both tried to do it together because he's from India.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Who's that?
And we call it Brownish. What's his name? Oh my God, I'm so
It's
bad.
okay.
I'm
I
so-
totally put you on the spot.
apologize.
I do that all the time.
Sammy the boss.
Oh, okay.
Sammy. I don't know if you know him, but he's one of the funniest guys I know.
Really?
And we decided to do it together. So,
that's
but yeah, I
cool.
mean, I love that experience because it taught me so much about being in front of a huge audience and about myself, you know, being calm about the stuff that I've been practicing. And yeah,
Do
it's
you
good. It's a good show.
do any kind of pre-show preparation to calm your nerves or to, get in the zone?
Yes, and I learned that from Bobby Oliver. She gave me she gave us a chant or a meditation tape. It's about 5 minutes. So I do spend, like you said, when you do earlier, you said that you do this breathing exercise. I do the same thing, and I think about the people in my life who are always bring me calm, like my mom, like my dad, and people who have lost or have always bring something positive in my life, So I just spend some time with them, and by the time I get into my set, I'm already in a good place.
I love that. How important is your is it to be personal in your comedy? And do you ever just go off and just make stuff up? Because I noticed in the documentary, there were a couple times we were talking about my 4th wife, my 5th wife. You're saying like make just like off the wall stuff. Do you still continue to do that, or do you have to keep a kind of consistency to your actual persona?
No, I whatever comes, I mean, it's this thing about the multiple wives is something that I've been doing for ages since I was in Venezuela. Just making people up because it's
Really?
like, what, you're married, you're 18, and you have three wives, back in the day, and so I bring all that stuff up from growing up in Venezuela because the Venezuelan people are very happy people. They like to laugh, and there's always something going on that makes you laugh, And
I remember when
a
I
lot
was
of
in
the stuff-
Venezuela, that what startled me was how loud it was, because there's so much music going on, and you could
Yes,
hear it
yes.
like, houses away. You could hear loud music. So yeah, the people there are very like festive. It seems like.
Yeah, very festive. And you mentioned your wife is from
Yeah.
Venezuela, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's say hola amiga, ¿cómo estás?
What did she
But
say?
yeah.
She said something at the beginning too. She said that. Can you read it?
Oh, where am I looking at? Compadre venezolano, hola comadre venezolana.
And what is the
Yes.
Spanish there?
Where is the Spanish?
Yeah, it says
Hola.
un país para quier. See, now I just,
Okay, am I looking at the right place?
oh,
here?
maybe
Let me
not. It's
show
down
you.
below us. Here it is.
There,
Do you see that? Do you see it on the screen?
after the where?
Right there.
Oh,
Right below
I grew up
us.
in Venezuela, un país para querer. Yeah, it's a country to love. It's it is.
Oh,
It's-
that's nice.
yeah, I found it.
Okay, I'm going to play another clip.
Okay.
Venezuelans dance everywhere. In fact, we are born dancing. You know, here in America, when you're born, they drag you out, hold you midair by your feet, and spank you twice so you can cry. 3 times if you're an ugly baby.
Oh,
In Venezuela, we don't resort to that type of violence. At least not that early in life. This is what a delivery room in Venezuela feels like. First, they dim down the lights. Then they put on some salsa music. And everybody starts moving. And nobody's yelling, push, push. No. The doctor says, feel the rhythm. The partner says, honey, feel the music. And the woman is back there all relaxed going, here comes the baby. They grab him, put him on a table, and let them rip. And if you want to hear that baby cry, turn off the music.
awesome. Now, was that in New York? Were you doing
That's
that?
in New York. Yeah, I went up there to perform in one of Lynn's son's show. Awesome experience. Awesome. She was awesome. So
That's great,
the
isn't
whole
she?
thing turned out to be amazing. Yeah, it was one of the best shows I ever had. In New York.
Did you feel like it was a different kind of audience than here in Los Angeles?
Yes, actually, we were more rowdy than they are here. in
Rowdier,
LA.
really?
Yeah, yeah. They
makes
were.
sense.
They were just bringing in part of it, but in a fun way too. Yeah.
I like that. What about acting? Do you ever act?
No, I never act. Even though I look like the son of a Groucho Marx and Eugene Levy.
I love that. How do you develop your comedy, like from the mic? Do you go around and do open mics or anything like that?
I try, yeah. It's a bit hard for me because I work long days and long hours.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
But when in my special in the trailer, I myself I'm hiking. I do a lot of hiking on my free time, and I take my mic, my fake mic, and I do my whole set, my whole thing in front of the birds, in front of the trees, and park myself on a bench and start doing the whole thing. And of course, nobody laughs, but but that's how I.
Then
I
you're
get
then you're
myself
ready.
used
If
to-
nobody laughs, you're totally ready.
I know.
I just saw this great thing. I don't know if you've watched the show White Lotus. Have you seen that show? At
I
all?
haven't yet.
There's
I haven't yet.
wonderful music in it, and in the whole series. And I just saw a thing on the internet where the composer was talking, and he lives out in the woods. and he's just got his portable audio system, and he's out there, and he records birds and things like that, and then puts it into the soundtrack.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be in a closet anymore, I guess.
No, I used to do that when I was designing environments for game. I used to go out with my camera and take pictures of bark, the tree, the bark, rocks, and then use as textures for my environments. It's nature. To me, nature is one of the best therapies that I can think of. I mean, I always like being in nature and doing this kind of things to make me used to the holding the mic, the speaking out, my projecting my voice, all this stuff.
Yeah. Do you find stand-up comedy to be therapeutic at all?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, it's something that it's amazing to me that I have an idea and I develop that idea and I put it in front of people and people laugh. I mean, for me, that's just an incredible thing. I mean, I never thought about doing anything like that. Like I said, I never wanted to be in front of bunch of people I don't know and tell my stories, So in that sense, it's something that it's like an accomplishment, man. But it's not therapy. It's like I was saying earlier. It's so hard for me to do comedy because I grew up in a loving family. I don't have any.
Yes, you have no angst.
There wasn't nothing happening to me myself.
Yeah,
my stories come from other things.
That happens in the acting world as well. People are like, I don't have anything to use. What can I do? Because I had a loving family. I know. Well, some of us are cursed with having a nice upbringing. What can you do? What can you do? So what are the what's in the future? You're gonna release your special, and it's two of you, right, who are in the special. So is it an hour-long special?
Well, no. He's doing his own part, and I'm just doing my own. So I'm gonna put it out as my own special, and then after that, I will. I'm trying to get more shows outside of LA because that experience in New York was amazing. I want to do more stuff, so I'm trying to go to where people I have friends and family, and trying to fill places out there and see if I can do that this year as well. And do more shows, more writing. I love the writing part of the whole thing.
Yeah, you're so good at it.
It's just thank you.
Kamala says, where's your family now? Caracas?
I have my father and my sister are in Venezuela, in Margarita Island, in La Isla de Margarita. They've been there for the last 20 years. We were born in Caracas and then we moved to the island. It's a beautiful place out there. I lived most of my life in Caracas, but every time I go down there, I go to the island, in Margarita Island.
Wow. We went down to the Grand Sabana, or into the jungles at least, to see the tepuis.
Right.
I mean, what a remarkable place that is.
Oh my God.
Have you done that? Gone
awesome.
down the river to Angel Falls?
No, I have never done it. It's one of my, it's in my list. I definitely want to go down there. Yeah.
So beautiful and so wild. Kamala says Margarita is like living in a resort. That's cool.
It's just amazing, man. I mean, I did I have a series that I did all in Spanish, and I was about showcasing the whole island, the people. I mean, it's not like one of those tourist things, oh, let's go to this island. No, I got into the people, the fishermen, the people out there, and they took me on boats ride, and I learned their lives, and I did like about 6 or 7 episodes. And they're on YouTube. I wish I would have thought about it and send you the links, cool. But I can send it to you later.
Yeah.
And it's all in Spanish, So
we can put that on in the show notes.
Yeah, okay. I can?
Yeah, no, you can't.
Oh, okay.
but I can. Well, this has been an absolute delight. I wonder, a lot of us are self-producing and a lot of us are putting things out there. Do you have insight into the best way to self-produce? Like you went through Amazon to do your documentary. Will you go that way with your special as well, or will you do YouTube?
Yes, I will do it. Yeah. I want to pair it as a part of with a documentary, because that happened. The documentary was 6 years ago, and then here's my special. From knowing nothing about comedy to having a special in San Francisco. But you know the route of Amazon is very technical. You have to have somebody who really understands what they're asking for, and that's the biggest wall in there. But it's other than that, it's one of the best things you can do. I mean, if you really have a good product. I haven't explored any other avenues. I know that Denise Winkleman, she did a special recently, and she went with somebody else, which I had no idea they were doing, producing specials. But I wanted to go with Amazon, and it's a great place to do it. But you have to be very technical and understand what they're asking for, because it can be very frustrating.
Maybe that sometimes is a good barrier, because it's like, how much do you want it? How much do you want to put it on Amazon, or how much?
Yes,
and maybe it's intentional, a little bit intentional. Obviously, they could make it so you could just upload it. So it's probably somewhat intentional to keep that for the people who are truly serious about it. Is it easy to see? This is technical, but is it easy to see how your movie's doing on Amazon and see what Is there like a control panel?
I do get the stats for myself. Yes, as an owner of the account, I do get stats. I mean, I knew I was never going to get rich about it, which is a way of me completing something that I set out to do. But yeah, you can see that the whole thing when some people rent it or buy it or something like that. And the only bad part is that it has to be. It was never been shown in Europe. It's got a lot of family in Europe.
Yeah.
Because of some restrictions that if it's in English, you have to play it in an English country, and you cannot play in Japan and all that stuff. So it's kind of a technical thing that they have. It was kind of weird. So if you want to do it that way, you have to tap subtitles in Japanese or in German, and it becomes a bigger thing.
That's super interesting. I'm sure it's probably a little bit easier now because there's so much AI that you can use to, translate and things. But
yeah.
Well, this has been a complete delight. Really appreciate you coming on the show. We run out of time. Of course, we have to dance. There's a dance break. We're going to have this guy. His name's Oliver Pesh. He's a wonderful YouTube performer. Do you do? I noticed in something that you were doing on the internet. I think it was an interview. You had guitars behind you. Do you play guitar?
I do. I've been playing guitar for many years, and I can throw a lick here and there.
Cool. Yeah. Well, that's great. All right. So let's do this thing. Thank you, Antonio, for being on the show.
Thank you, Joel. This has been an amazing experience, man. I'm glad you invited me over and had me over, and I hope I can come back some other time, maybe after the special or something.
Yeah. I look forward to performing with you again. I just during the show, I booked something at 3 clubs on Tuesday with none other than Vargas Mason. So that's kind of fun.
Goodness.
We'll be doing that.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
All right, let's do this thing. Let's dance it out. Little Beatles action for us all today. Thank you, Howard. Thanks, Todd.
I've just seen a face, I can't forget the time or place where we just met. She's just the girl for me, and I want all the world to see we've met. Had it been another day, I might have looked the other way, and I'd have never been aware. But as it is, I'll dream of her tonight. Die, 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 die.
Thanks, Rosanna.
Falling, yes, I am
Great to see
falling,
you.
and she keeps calling me back again. I have never known the like of this. I've been alone and I have missed things and kept out of sight. But other girls were never quite like this. Die, 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 die. Falling, yes, I am falling, and she keeps calling me back again.
Oh, I like this part. There's some good editing in this.
Yes.
Falling,
All right, if you want to follow Antonio, check out the show notes. All his links are there. Thank you, Oliver Pesh, also for your music. And we'll see you all on Tuesday for more Lunch Therapy.